We are on the record.
We have three trustees here. Yeah, I was going to say call to order. And roll call and then pledge, right? So I think interim administrator likes to call the meeting to order. I would like to make a motion that in the absence of the supervisor, that trustee McGovern act as chair for today's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Guys have it.
Okay, run it. You're
All
up.
right, roll call. Trustee Robinson.
Here.
Trustee Page.
Here.
Trustee McGovern is here.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm
in
here.
present, okay, I was thinking voting members. Interim John Light and Clerk Collins. And in our, and we have Marty Shrell in attendance.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is there any public comment?
I don't see any online.
Is there any in-person public comment? Seeing that there's no in-person public comment nor online public comment, let's switch to item number 5, discussion and possible action to approve the agreement with MGT Impact Solutions for the services of James Marino as the interim township administrator. Is there any discussion?
Well, I'll make the motion to approve the MGT Impact Solutions Agreement for James Marino, rate of $123.25 per hour for the term February 28th through May 2nd, 2025.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay. We will take a roll call
Well,
vote.
we have any discussion?
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say, we're very fortunate. You know, we're in a position where we do need some help to bridge into the next board. And, you know, I'm happy for Mr. Light that he has a new engagement to go to. When we said we really need some help just to get the township through the end of our term, they said, well, Mr. Marino would be interested in coming back. And one of the good things is one of the last things he did before he left, Mr. Marino, is send an email saying, just when you're planning for a board transition, here are the things you should think about. So he's already put together almost a working checklist for the activities that should take place. I don't, you know, as we've talked about it, Mr. Marino was very good about getting some policies and procedures in place. Mr. Light's been very good about helping us with the personnel, getting them aligned to their roles, do the reviews and all that. I don't think we're going to be using nearly as much of Mr. Marino's time. The issues are, you know, we said 20 to 24 hours. I think that might actually be on the high side. So I think we can, you know, control the expense, but I think it's absolutely necessary that we have someone in place to help get the board and the employees through a transition, which is really what the big focus is, to make sure that none of the township services are impacted during the transition. So that's really why I'm very much in favor of this. But that's my comment on my part of the discussion.
And I second everything that Trustee Robinson said. I feel very fortunate that this particular person is available at this time. We do need somebody. It's too late to try to hire somebody. We haven't even had anybody apply. It's just kind of too late to onboard anybody new right now. It's a boon that we've got somebody who was here with us for 10 months already, willing to come back and transition us these two. It's not fair to put that on this staff, you know. So.
I think it'll sue for a stable transition and he knows
Exactly.
what is important.
Exactly.
And, I just think it's been an asset to have two professionals in with different aspects of growth.
Yes.
And I think that we have grown with that. So
Yes.
I'm really appreciative that that's taking place.
Exactly. Our staff is been taken care of. Policy's been taken care of. We're in better shape now than we were a few years ago.
Yeah, and it hasn't been a direct expense, but we've been offset with the savings on the personnel
Right.
side. So
Right.
as we looked at the budget numbers,
Yeah.
you know, it hasn't put us anywhere near our budget limit. So
Exactly.
it was a good investment from the township and again, for the personnel. You know, they're still also new here.
Yes.
right? Some of them are less than 2 years, some of them are less than, everyone's less than 3 years. So
Yes.
it really gets us to a good place with all these
Yes.
people. So
Agreed.
thank you for that.
Okay, a roll call vote for the approval of MGT and James Marino. Trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Page?
Yes.
And myself, I'm a yes.
Okay,
Agenda item number 6.
so it passes.
And passes. Discussion and possible action to approve the interim township administrator and township staff to perform actions to address the safety and security risks identified in the IPMG property safety survey.
Okay, so, just as a proactive measure, we engaged with our insurance company, what I would call loss control consultant, a subject matter expert, to take a look at the space that we utilize out in one of the barns. The space itself is really property of the highway commission. Highway commissioner and his staff allow us to use it for various purposes. Primarily, the bulk of the space is occupied by PACE vehicles. That's where we store the PACE vehicles because we need to protect them in a secure environment per our contract with PACE. However, one of the other things that are out there are assets that we have to dispose of. So there are some things that are placed out there. You as the board have already authorized us to begin to auction off excess equipment or throw away unusable equipment. That is in process. Michelle Porter's been taking the lead on that. She has secured purchasers for some of the chairs, the freezer. So that's already in process, because one of the things in this report was there's a lot of trip and fall hazards. So we're addressing that. And really, when I say we, that's you empowered staff to address it. She's rolling with it. The recycling materials that are out there present a problem as identified by the loss control consultant. We are taking in different things, and recycling is good. So the message that I want to convey to you is recycling is good, but to do it right and protect ourselves, our assets, and our employees, we need to either commit to doing some of the things in the report, which will be an added expense, or we have to selectively look at what we're recycling to make sure that we're striking that balance between serving the public and protecting our employees and our assets. Some of the things where we need to do better are, I mentioned trip and falls. We're addressing that. Did someone else?
I see, is that waiting room, Diane Hewitt?
Let me see if I can get Supervisor Hewitt in the waiting room. So let me turn it around so she's in. So we're addressing the slip and fall hazards that the loss control consultant mentioned. We're also addressing clear walkways out there by removing that materials. And that's a good use of the materials. Like if someone can use them, we're not just throwing them out, they can purchase them and they can put that stuff to use. So that's all positive, and that will continue over the next 30 days. We already have plans for some of the items that are broke, that when the contractors are on site to replace the windows, they have agreed to allow us to dispose of any of the materials out there that are broken in their dumpster, which is a good thing. So that'll enable us to further clear that out. One thing that is a concern out there is fire extinguishers. There is one in the corner, but it was partially blocked. The visibility to it was partially blocked by some of the recycling materials. But we need, most importantly, we need to have a contract. In my opinion, my recommendation is we have a contracted service that comes in and replaces and checks fire extinguishers on an annual or biannual basis. There are fire protection service companies that just do that. I think that's a best practice. If there's already one that the highway department uses, we can partner with them to have the service extended out there, or it could be just a good neighbor policy that the township does that for and picks up that cost for the highway commissioner, allowing us to use part of his barn. But that's a good practice. It needs to be in place out there. They need to be good fire extinguishers, and they need to be rated for what you're doing out there and visible. We also.
Sorry, just a quick question. What do we do in this facility? Do we have this?
I don't believe that we have a present contract with anybody, so we could also include this
I would
facility.
suggest if we're gonna do it, we should consider this facility as well.
Another item the loss control consultant identified out there is carbon monoxide detectors. We do warm up vehicles in the bay, we start them. So if for any reason that there is a problem, I'm sorry, Supervisor Hewitt's got her hand up, so I don't know.
We can fish your thigh.
I think it's just important that we allow monoxide detectors to be present, purchase them, because you don't want, again, the safety of your employee compromised.
Nope.
Sorry. I think you're unmuted, Supervisor Hewitt.
So every 6 months or a year at the very most, we have Cintas come out and check all of our lights, all of our fire extinguishers, etc.
So we do have so my question would be, do we have a contract with Cintas? Is it on the website where I can just review it real quick?
It's an agreement that has been in place. I don't know where the contract is as per se, but every year that happens, they come through and they bill us. So that's what we have been doing since I've been here.
Okay, so we'll look into that and maybe build that out a little bit more and see if we can get that memorialized into writing and expand it to cover anything we need to. And I can get the contact person's name from you. So thank you. And continuing through the report, one of the things that we need to look at, depending on what we have out there, we do have things out there that we need to address. Like there are a couple of recommendations in here that are very technical. One is what we call MSDS sheets. If you ever walk around, there's a big book, it's like a yellow book, and it shows all the chemicals that may be present and what you need to do in emergency procedures if you're exposed to them. We do need to have those sheets out there, especially some things that I've noted along with the loss control consultant of concern could be the cooking oil. It's flammable. We don't know what's in it, but if it were to splash and get on you or in you, there could be anything from allergies. Like and I'm not an expert in this, but forecasting out the worst scenario as part of risk management. Like if someone has allergies to peanuts, I don't know if that's in there. What if they get some of that stuff in their eyes? What do you do? We also have cans of gasoline and I think I'm not sure which call the machine, but there's a big machine up there. It's used to suck up stuff
the
or
billy
whatever.
goat.
Billy
Yeah,
goat.
yeah.
Like looking at that machine and maybe do we need to keep that out there with gasoline? Supervisor Hewitt reminded me that we got some gas cans out there. Looking to divest ourselves of all those things that we don't really use out there and are not staffed to use, I think is important, because then we lower our risk and get closer to compliance with this report, because there's less MSDS sheets that we have to have because there's just less stuff out there. But we do need to address that concern. So that is something, and once we have these items out there, we have to keep those sheets updated. The loss control consultant also recommended, based upon some of the stuff we have out there, whether that be gasoline or cooking oil, what have you, we do need an eye wash station out there. We would need to purchase one so that you can rinse your eyes. If you get, one of those substances in your eye, you have to have a portable gas station or eye wash station out there, portable or permanent, to wash your eyes. And you'll see those in anywhere from school classrooms. We used to have one in my junior high chemistry classroom. That's a must. We also need to put first aid equipment out there. And that's just generally when we have something out there, you could get cut by something. We have glass out there. We have various things. You have to do that. They also recommended, they didn't recommend it, but they suggested and inferred that, even an automated external defibrillator, was not present out there. We do have one in this building. However, there's a little bit of a distance there. Right now, I would not think that is a must, but you probably long-term should look at some communication system, like a panic button out there to up here, because in case something happens, if someone doesn't have their cell phone on them, how do you notify over here that there's a problem?
Right.
So that's something. We need to make sure that we keep access to that building limited, not only out of respect to the highway department, but just that's where a lot of assets are. We have a lot of vehicles and things out there, and the highway department should always have a key to access it should they need it. And we update our box for the fire department. So the report, he did take some pictures, and I think there has been substantial improvement in kind of clearing out the barn. I know some of you have volunteered your time. Thank you. I think it's going to be getting even more clean as Michelle Porter continues to do the asset disposal, because stuff will be leaving. The other thing that we were just trying to cover the internal space here, the real decision. I think this afternoon, the pain point that the loss control consultant pointed out was the presence of the cooking oil in the building. That's a flammable substance, and was his big pain point about having that in the building. It also, if that thing were punctured in the building, then that you aggravate your trip and fall. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Supervisor, you go ahead.
Have you noticed it's outside the building?
Yes, I have noticed that. I went out there this afternoon and looked at it. It is outside of the building, which does address some of the concerns in the report. We may want to talk through, if you're okay with it, Supervisor Hewitt, some of the second and third order items that come up as a result of moving it out of the building, which I think it'd be wise for you as a board just to be aware of and decide to accept the risk or not accept the risk, and a path forward. So let me know if you guys want to talk a little bit about that.
I do, but thank you for engaging with the consultant. Thank you for putting together your recommendations. I agree with so I would empower you and the staff to come up with specific purchase requests for the things that you've identified here, probably not including the extra AED, because I think we might want to rethink that. But
Yeah.
It seems like everything else is a reasonable investment. And then including extending whatever agreement we have here relative to the fire extinguishers out. And that's why I would make the motion to approve those specific actions that you've identified independently of, well, let's wait till we have the discussion around the oil as well. But at this point, I appreciate all the work you've done. I think they are things that we should address. And so thank you for the time. So what else did you want to identify around, and I'm sorry, it's your meeting to run, around the cooking oil, right?
Let's talk about that. It's outside right now. And it was moved when?
Yeah, Supervisor Hewitt, last week I had asked you to provide the contact information for the oil recycle to interim admin Light, and that has yet to happen.
He was given the contact information.
Yeah.
When weeks ago, when all of the contact information for all of the recycling was given to him.
Yeah, well, he's searched through his email and cannot, and I would just ask that it would probably be easier for you, Supervisor Hewitt, to look in your send folder, find the email that you sent to him and possibly resend it.
Sure.
Thank you.
One of the questions I have, I think specifically around oil is there a set schedule for when they're supposed to come and collect it so that it doesn't get too much out there? Like that would minimize the risk as well. Like, are they supposed to come like every 30 days, every 60 days, Supervisor? We got a set schedule with them?
What they asked, and when we received it, was that we give them a call when we have a full or close to full unit. We are not anywhere close to full, but again, if you all vote to discontinue it, I can give them a call and have them pick it up. But it was based on how full is it. So it's not like they would come and empty it every 30 days, because it's very sporadic as to, for example, what tends to happen is that there'll be some community event with oils like a fish fry, and then the people come after the fish fry and bring the used oil. That's the main thing that has happened, where all of a sudden we get 10 canisters of oil So fish fries are a thing that has really had a number of people where they bring that in. Other times somebody is cleaning out their cabinet and realizes they have a bunch of expired oil. So it's very sporadic.
The problem has been identified that it has been moved out of the garage and now it's just stored outside and there is potential for puncture. Our campus is not secure. There's potential for critters. It's oil, but it smells like food, so it cannot sit out where it is right now.
I believe I already expressed my desire to not collect cooking oil.
Completely, yeah, it was never agreed upon.
Yeah, and if you're talking about fish fries, I think that's only going to increase. And I don't want to see more product brought in. I would like to cancel the food cooking oil recycling program. Because there's other facilities that can intake that oil.
Right.
And they're better, they're more capable of doing so. So I don't know if this is an agenda item for next month. Or
So all you have to do is make a motion, trustee McGovern, and have a second, and then it can be voted on.
Can they vote on something that's not specifically on the agenda? Is the concern?
Maybe you could.
The
Can they just provide?
topic is relatively, I mean, the topic is relatively general, but if you want to wait until the next meeting and put that on, that's fine.
Yeah.
With the thought that if you could expedite this to, it's not necessarily canceling the program because it was a program that you added on that was never agreed to. So I just want to make it clear that the trustees are not canceling the program that they initiated. It is something that was never agreed to at the beginning. So if you could just facilitate removing oil collection from any of our websites and anything else, and instruct everyone that we won't be accepting anymore after today, then we could be done and they could decide if they want to put in a motion at the next one. But you know what their intent is and always has been. So can you get that done today or tomorrow at the latest?
So the recycling program was never, because programs don't need to be voted on. It was never voted on as per se, meaning that when I went back and I looked through the minutes, there was never a motion that the trustees made to do this program. I created the program and whatnot. So it really makes the most sense that there would be a motion that the trustees wish to make to cancel it, to cancel the collection of this, which is fine. We can put that on the next agenda. And I can, because you all have stated where your point is, that where you're at, I'll stop collecting it and I'll get it picked up. But it does need to be a motion that's made and passed because that's what you all wish to do. And that's how we do things, is with motions.
But you did not have a motion to begin with. So my suggestion to you, like I just said, is if you could remove this from your recycling program that was never voted on. So if you could remove that tomorrow, could you agree to that?
There's going to be a motion. There needs to be, and how we do things, or how a board does things, is there needs to be a motion that's agreed to and put forth and then voted on. That's how it needs to be done if you all wish to have that as part of what you wish to do. So that's what a board does. So if you wish to vote on that, I can make sure that that's going to be on the next agenda and you all can vote to cancel that aspect of the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. So I'd like to go back to if you look at the way the way we made a motion is we'll approve the things, the identified actions, identified the interim township administrator, address safety and security risks. He's listed 8 specific items. And then and we should talk about the cooking oil program. So I would make the motion that we approve the recommendations 1 through 7 in the interim, John Light's report, to address those, come up with purchase requests if appropriate, or direct the staff to address them, so that we address these specific item recommendations. So that would be the motion I would make.
Okay, I would second that.
Could you, since it's in the packet, could you just add it on then? So it is part of the recommendation to discuss, and it is part of the security. I don't think it would be a problem to personally, to just add it on and
You're
to
talking about
remove the oil from the recycling program.
I agree with the clerk.
Wow, thank you.
I would prefer to just deal with what's specifically listed as action items and table that to the next full board meeting. Or have it a specific discussion and motion in the next full board meeting.
I would agree, and because we were just speaking with Marty, there's a possibility that we can look into using what is out there in your system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly
then-
take it from it.
Right, and then ceasing collection,
Right, we
going
prob-
forward, we're
Right.
done, problem solved.
right. So just,
All the tank will be gone. Just put it in with our waste oil for our furnace and,
And it'll smell like french fries and fish around here for a while.
well, depending on what garage we put it in.
all right, so
Thank you.
the motion was to approve 1 through 7, specifically that Mr. Light has identified, and you seconded it.
Yes.
All right. Roll call vote. Trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Page.
Yes,
I am a yes, and it passes.
So you just check with the supervisor.
Oh, Supervisor Hewitt?
Yeah, no, but isn't the clerk taking the roll calls, or how come the clerk isn't doing that? And who's managing this meeting? I came in late, sorry, I was on a Metropolitan Township Association call.
Okay.
We're all good.
Okay, we are on to agenda item number 7, old business. Is there any old business to share?
No.
For me? New business? We have no new business to share. Any reports of elected officials? Supervisor Hewitt?
Yes, I'll send you all some more information, but there is a bill that's being discussed, that's talking about a dissolution of township law, state law that's coming up, and I'll give you more information as to who's sponsoring it, how it's gonna go through the legislature. And the Metropolitan Township Association is asking for people to lobby against it. So there's that.
Thank you. Executive session is not needed today. Agenda item 11.
I'll make an motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is closed.
thank you all.
Thank you all.
Do we need to sign?
I was wondering about that, if you guys could just take it, or do you have a company? that
No,
takes the
we,
oil?